there. How are you? My name is Cindy Mark. I'd like to welcome you guys back to our training nail group. This is called Shine and Design with Jazz Z Beauty, and we welcome you today for another one of our great training course focused on hybrid gel nail system and also e-filing technique. Today we're going to be doing a demonstration. Hi there. Hey guys, for just joining in. So today our training class will be focused on how to properly prep the nail bed and also to do the proper fill-in with the hybrid gel system. Hi Vin. Hi. Is it Eden? Hi Kylie. Okay, so give me 1 second, and I hope you guys can also do this as well, is help me share this training group to all of your friends and colleagues, anybody who's interested in how to do their own nails, or even if you're a professional nail tech that want to also share this information with your colleagues. If you're thinking about going to a nail academy or going to get your nail license, I suggest you join this group because we're going to have a lot of courses about how to even become a nail tech. So first off, let me go ahead and share this group to my regular page. So let me see here. Hi everyone. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this onto my regular page. I'm gonna wait a little bit before we start our training class today because I want to make sure we get a little bit more viewers before I get started. But anytime that you guys are watching this training and you miss any part of it, just don't worry. We always upload it after we're done, and you can always go back to this class, and if you miss anything, then you can play it back that way. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my group page and I'm gonna share this. So everybody take a moment right now to say hi to everyone and also to share this group. Okay, so I'm so excited today because I have something new to show you, and also I will be talking over about some of the kits that we put together for our training group. Because many of you may have heard of hybrid gel nails before, or maybe you haven't, but our kit looks like this. Everything's gonna look backwards because I have the camera switched around. But this is our tap hybrid gel nail system, and in the kit it actually has everything that you would need to get started. So I'm going to open it up. We put together two different kits. Basically, one is a beginner's kit that only has the clear. The clear tube is only for foundation work. So if you're just interested to do a thin overlay and put color on top of that, you're fine using that particular kit because it's designed just for the basic beginner. But this kit that I'm showing you right now has everything that you would need to get started, because it's got also the information and the step-by-step that's included, and plus all of these free training videos and classes that I'm doing weekly on our Facebook group that you can also join us. And if you have any questions while you're using the product, you can always ask me while we're doing these classes. I will be happy to help you. So in our kit, let's just talk about the product. This is basically what the hybrid gel is. I'm wearing nails that are made of hybrid gel. It looks almost like acrylic or some sort of other different type of nail enhancement, but this is all gel. It's gel base. It's we call it hybrid gel because it is a combination. Just think of like a combination of acrylic system and builder gel. So builder gel is very hard to work with. I don't know if a lot of you have tried it. I personally don't like it. I love the look of builder gel. It's very clear, very transparent, but it is a lot harder to do. Acrylic system is another type of product that is also great in the market, but again, it takes a lot of training for that, a lot of practicing. You always have to worry about your liquid to powder ratio, which not a lot of us can get right away. So I know some nail techs it takes them 3 to 6 months to even really get the hang of acrylic nail system. So with this hybrid gel system, it's an odor-free product, so there's really no toxic chemical smell. The only liquid that we will be using is your basic rubbing alcohol. So I would suggest you to use 70% or higher rubbing alcohol, and in the market that's what you'll find. I'm going to use probably, I just bought some and it's 99% proof, which is fine because anything that is 70% or higher for the alcohol volume is what you're looking for. So in our kit you also have the top and base that we would need. I'll explain all the product while I'm using it so you guys can understand the usage a little bit better. But on the bottom here, this is a 2-layer box. It's very nice packaging as well. On the bottom you'll have your 6 different pink colors, and these are great because these are colors that will basically look good with any French combination that you decide to use on your client or your own nails. We have like the darker pinks, the light pinks, we have some with shimmer. So this basic set here is called the French Collection Kit, and it also comes with your brushes that you would need, because there's a very simple system. You don't need a lot of tools to use with this product. So there are 2 brushes that are included. So one is our hybrid gel brush, and the other end is just a metal spatula that we use to remove the product off the tube. So it's a very clean system as well because there's no cross-contamination. We squeeze it off the tube and we cut it off and apply it onto the nail. So it's really nice and clean. And this here is a cuticle stone pusher. So one end is a stone and you use that to push your cuticles with, and then this side is a silicone tip which you can use for many different nail art procedures as well. I do recommend that we keep this stone pusher for our own personal use because this stone pusher is not a sterilizable implement, but it is really good for like your own pedicures and manicures. Okay. The good thing about today is I just got in our new Russian manicure bit set. So I'm going to be talking a lot about this today. So I'm excited about that. So continuing on with what you get with the kit is you also get a couple of different nail art products. You get the whole set of tools that you would need, like the nail files, the buffer, a couple plastic nail tips for you to practice with. And then another thing that I like that we did is we included a full box of nail tips. So this is almond shaped. It's great for any of those type of nail shapes that are really popular right now. So either the almond, the coffin, you got the ballerina. You can do that with these tips, and they're very easy to use, and I use them on all of our training classes when I'm doing a nail extension. So hey, Darmin said he wants a kit. She wants a kit. Great. I'm gonna put the link to all the products and the kits that we showcased today on our class at the end of the class, and then I'll put that in the description. So that's what is also included. And one of the great thing is because this is a gel system, you would need an LED lamp to cure. So this is also included in the kit, which is amazing because this is 48 watt and it's strong enough to cure almost every gel that there is in the industry. So I love it because it is censored. So the client, when they take their hands out, it'll go off. When you put it in, it'll set and turn it on by itself, so it's automatic. You can also set the time, so it can be, you guys can't see this because it's really bright in here, but we've got it, you can set for 5 seconds, 15, 30 seconds, and 60 seconds. So most of the cure time for each layer of the hybrid gel steps, it will be a minimum of 15 seconds to 30 seconds, 30 seconds for the base gel. And when the final cure, we're done with all the application, that would take 60 seconds. So in between the time, you know, as long as you have the hands inside for a minimum of 15 to 30 seconds, then you can go ahead and work onto the other hand. Okay, so I'll show you guys the different steps and how to use that. So another big tool that I want to talk about is our e-file machine. So this here, this is our Shine e-file machine, and it's really nice because it's a grade that is great for beginners to professional level. And if you're going to invest in one e-file, you might as well make it a nice cute one that will last and last forever. This does have a 1-year warranty, so if there are any mechanical issues that happen with it within a year, send it back to us, send it back to the company. We will definitely look at it, and if we can't fix it, we'll replace it. And so with the e-file, this is a brand new one right here. It does come with a bit set. So this bit set is very traditional. It's a beginner, what they call a diamond bit set for manicures. So these aren't bits that we can use for the hybrid gel per se, but this is a great prepping bit kit that we can use to prep all the nail beds and the cuticles and things like that. So that's included with it. And it also has a nice nifty stand that you could put your handpiece on. So with the machine, it will come with its manual. So if you have any questions about the function and the unit, it's all the instruction is in the box. So a little bit more about this unit here is, like I said, it's a great beginner's e-file, but also very good for a professional technician who wants to have an e-file that will last. And the best thing of all, you see here, it's cordless. So you can charge this for an hour and it'll last you filing time up to 10 hours, which for me is almost a week to 2 weeks before I need to charge it again. Because if you can see, most of the steps and the procedures that I use with the e-file, it's not very long at all, maybe a minute to 2 minutes. You know, if I'm doing like 10 nails and I'm filing all the surfaces, that might take me 10 to 15 minutes. So if you're thinking about 10 hours of use time for charging it just an hour, that's really powerful. And this unit is also a 35,000 RPM unit, and Sylvia loves it because she just bought one. I'm glad you're able to use it now, Sylvia. Hi everybody, for those of you who are just joining in. Sylvia was so cute because she texted me about this handpiece or the unit because it wasn't working, and it kind of freaked me out a little bit because I don't like to sell anything that doesn't work, right? So I had her on speaker and I'm going it through the steps with her. So basically what had happened is, I'm going to take a bit out of our new Russian bit set here to just show you guys. So one safety feature about this handpiece is, first of all, I'm going to show you how to input the bit. So you see here, there's an unlock button. So we're going to make sure the arrow is pointing to that unlock. That way we can put in our bit. So the bit here, you see this area, this whole section here is called the shank. And it's a very long piece of metal that we insert into the handpiece. Every handpiece is a little bit different, but for most part, I know that you never want to put the bit completely all the way in. Even though it's showing a little bit of the shank, you still want to give it just a little bit extra. So this is pushed all the way in right now. So I'm going to expose it just a little bit more. And what that does, now we're going to lock it into place. So now I just twisted it and I have the arrow with the lock position there. So when you leave just a little bit extra shank to be exposed, it actually helps the handpiece motor to run very smoothly. So when you accidentally have it all the way in, because that's what the most, the first instinct that we're going to have as a newbie is, we're going to get our bit and then we're going to push it all the way in because we think we need to do that, and then we're going to lock it. So what happens with the handpiece and the motor is, when you turn it on, it's going to say, mine is working okay, but sometimes it's going to show you an error on your LCD screen. And it's because the neck of the bit is in too much into the handpiece. So again, when you first start your machine, make sure you just leave a little bit extra, pull it out a little bit extra, and then lock it. And that way your motor inside can run really smooth and it won't have any issues. So this is a nice machine because it is cordless. You can do basic manicure, like the Russian dry manicure with the bits with this. You can e-file hybrid gels, acrylics. You can use bits to remove like dipping powder before you soak. I use it also like a really fine bit to remove gel polish before I do my gel manicure, and that helps to expedite all of your services. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, but this does go up to 35,000 RPM, which is really fast. And I don't have a lot of noise in here except for the air conditioning, but if you guys can just hear that, it's really quiet, and there's no vibration on the handpiece. It's really smooth. It's also thinner than a lot of other handpieces that I've held, and for a female with smaller hands, that's really helpful, because you think about this, if you're really busy in your salon and you're filing away for, you know, I wouldn't say 10 hours straight, because we never file for 10 hours straight, but you're working a shift that is 8 to 10 hours, and you have to pick up an e-file that, you know, you need to control. You want to make sure that the handpiece is not very heavy or wide, because that will give you a lot of tiredness throughout your wrists. And, you know, I know in the beginning when I used to use the older fashioned e-file machines and the handpiece were really heavy and wide, I actually got carpal tunnel, and I stopped using as much as I wanted to. I just did the very bare minimum. But, you know, honestly, knowing how to use an e-file will definitely make your life and your job so much easier. It expedites every service that you can think of, you know, from manicuring to gel polish, you know, manicures to hybrid gel, any type of those kind of nail service. So I recommend you to practice with a great e-file, invest in something that will last you. Okay, that's all I'm going to talk about e-files right now. So we will have more in-depth education about the bits and the drilling and all the different techniques that we can use with our e-files. But just for today, I just want to showcase this because I have new bits that I want to show you as well. So if you got confused through my talking about the bits and the e-file and the kit, don't worry, because everything's on our website. We'll put the links to them after I'm done. Okay, so the best thing I want to talk about today is going to be our new bits. I have it all glued and printed on this tray, but these are amazing bits. Everything's backwards, so you guys can't really see what I'm talking about. When I turn the camera around, you will. But our kit includes 10 new bits. So these are rainbow tungsten bits, and they're great. Not only do they look great, but they work really well. And each bit has a purpose, and I'm gonna explain what they're for. And these are super, super great for pedicures. Oh my goodness. If you ever want to do a pedicure with you using bits like this and finishing off the pedicure service, I tell you, their toenails and their cuticle area will look so much better than just pushing back with cuticle softener and trimming the cuticles, because sometimes that's not enough for some clients who have over excessive cuticle buildup. And even for ingrown toenails and things like that, some of these bits are very, very useful. So I'm hoping that we're going to have a specialist come onto our class show and show you guys how to use these bits the Russian manicure style. But today I'm going to use some of it as well, as I'm going to be prepping my own nails. So I've had these hybrid gel and designs on for about, I think, 2 weeks now. So I don't have a lot of growth because my nails don't grow that fast, but I still want to show you guys how to properly remove the old product, take off the nail art, push back the cuticles properly, and how to do the right fill with the hybrid gel system. So I want to say hi, and I will turn this camera around, so I will see you guys in a little bit. Let me see. Okay. I don't see the button for that. Give me 1 second while I figure the camera position out. Okay. So let me reposition my camera stand here. So I don't know if you guys noticed, I did announce that we have a new contest, and the contest is if you guys would to share your nail art with us and post on our group Or you can even just send it directly to me so I can post it for you. But the contest is if you can take pictures of your before and after, or if it's just a new set, just take the finished work of the nails that you use with the hybrid gel system. Put your name on there, hashtag your name, and hashtag your salon name if you're working in a salon. Because what I'm going to do is for each photo that you submit, I'm going to enter your name into our drawing, and we're going to pull out the name and you get a free gift. So the nail art gifts are up to me, but I'm going to be doing that drawing every week. So you guys have until Thursday to submit me all the photos of nail designs and nail work that you've done with the Shine product and also the hybrid gel system. So make sure you post that, and if you want to, you can share it directly to me, but I'd rather you post it on your own Facebook and then send me or hashtag us in there. All the rules are listed in the group. So good luck to you, and I hope to see a lot of nail pictures, because I know a lot of you already have the hybrid gel system and you're working with it. So I want to see your finished work, okay? Okay, so we have here, this here is, we're going to talk about the different bits that I'm going to use. But if you guys can see, this is the safety bit. Maybe I don't know if the camera's good this way or that. Okay, so we have number 2 is a cylinder bit. This is really thin. This is great to go around the nail plate to clean up. And these are in order, so these are the order I'm going to be using these bits. Then we have the small cylinder bit. We got the nib bit. I don't know why they call it nib, but it's really cute. It's very useful for in those deep corners of the cuticle area, especially like on the pedicure services. We have cone safety bit. This is great under the cuticle. You didn't think you can use a bit under the cuticle, but this is a great bit to really clean up those areas and prevent any extra growth. And it lasts, your product and your process and your full sets and fills will last an extra week or 2 if you utilize these bits to do the proper cleanup. Next bit is a cone ball bit. So these 2 bits are very similar in their usage. One is just more tapered and one is a ball. Okay, so those will remove cuticles. So these are bits that I'm talking about that you can use to do a Russian manicure without having to cut off the cuticle, because we're not really supposed to cut off any cuticle. We can push back dry cuticle, we can remove hangnails, we can remove dry skin, but if we can do all that with bits like these are diamond bits that are able to be sterilized and sanitized and reusable. So if you utilize these bits correctly, your manicures will look amazing. And then we have the file bit. This I use to smooth off the nail plate. This is a great bit to remove any tough, dry skin, like around the callus of the toes. Sometimes even some customers have really dry skin around their fingers because they maybe write really hard or they do a job that is pretty intense in one area. They will build up a dry skin around that area, and this is a great bit to also smooth that without having to do any damage. And this is just a really cute brush bit that I use at the very end for any of those extra debris. Okay, so now that we talked about the bit, I'm gonna go ahead and start my setup for the fills. So we're gonna be using our e-file. Again, today we'll be doing demonstration on how to properly prep the nail bed and also how to fill with the hybrid gel system. Okay, so first I'm gonna show you all my implements that we're gonna be using. So we've got a nice nail cleaner brush, a buffer that we're gonna be using at the very end. Got my sterile bag that I already cleaned my implements with. And this is nice also as a presentation if you're working in a client and a client sees that you're taking everything out of a sterile box. They know that you properly sterilize all the implements before you're going to use it on them. So I've got my cuticle nipper. If I have any extra hangnails, I can use that. We're going to use a metal implement to push back the cuticles. This is my tornado bit that I'm going to use to remove all the extra or the old nail art and the crystals and stuff. But I'm going to show you guys how to properly remove the crystals first. This is a cone bit that I love to use around the cuticle area because it's very narrow and it's also very visually easy for you to see around the areas that you're filing. So that's why I like that bit. And then we're going to use this bit here. This is a barrel safety bit. You see on top there, it's very smooth. So it allows you to get close to the cuticle area without having any fear that you're going to accidentally cut the skin. And this is a very nice straight barrel. That way we can make sure that all the surface is going to be nice and smooth. So this is a medium grit barrel bit. Okay, so I'm going to put that all aside. Hey Brittany, so Brittany said I got my replacement brush. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. Oh, you're welcome, Brittany. I'm glad to see that as well. Make sure you send me some of the photos so I can enter you guys in our contest. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna take my cuticle nipper here. I'm just gonna put my bits all in the tray. I'm gonna use the back end of my cuticle nipper. What I mean is this section here. So this is the front end and this is the back end. So we're going to utilize the back end. Why? Because the front is always thinner and more fragile than the back side. The back side is always a little bit thicker. So if you clip off any stones, use the back end first. That way you don't damage your cuticle nippers. See, I'm gonna have to remove all the crystals first. And by the way, I use our crystal glue gel. That's why they stay on so well. Sometimes I do have to use the tip of the cuticle nipper. So I'm just clipping the base of the crystal to make sure that I can loosen them up and remove the stone. Okay, so you want to do that first. So use the back side of the nipper. If you have an old nipper that you prefer to use versus a good, clean, new cuticle nipper, then you can do that as well. Because some of these crystals and stones are super tough. Okay, so you want to make sure you remove as much excess glue from the nail art as possible. Okay, so make sure I don't have any more crystals. Okay, the first bit I'm going to be using is going to be the tornado bit. So if your client said, oh, I think I want them a little bit shorter, you can go ahead and cut the nails down at this point too to save you some extra filing time. And all I'm going to do is take my nail clipper and just clip a tiny bit on the side. And as you see, this hybrid gel is not very hard like acrylic system. So when you clip the nail, sometimes it won't cut all the way through. So you're going to do 2 cuts, 1 on each side. And that'll help to also remove whatever you need without creating a cut that goes across the nail bed. So I'm just going to cut my nails down a little bit. And it's all preference. You can cut the nails down while you're prepping the nail bed, or you can cut that before. I like cutting them a little bit before, that way I can just fix the shape as I'm prepping the nail bed. Okay, so we're gonna cut that down. I'm gonna use my tornado bit to remove the old nail art. So remember, this is pushed all the way in. You want to expose the shank just a little bit. The longer the nail, the more you can expose the shank of the bit. Okay, we're going to turn our E-file to, when you're removing old nail art or gel polish, well, gel polish on natural nails, you're not going to turn the speed as high. But if you're removing gel on the hybrid or acrylic or any other enhancement system, you can turn the speed higher. That way it can remove the product quicker without putting so much force. So I'm going to turn it up to 23,000 RPM. And then we're just going to use the center to the back side of this bit to remove the product. We're just removing the old nail art. It's very safe, this bit, because it doesn't have a lot of sharp edges. So I'm able to really control what area that I'm going to be targeting to remove the design. And remember, we're doing a fill today, so you do need to remove all the old product that's on top, like the gel polish, the design. You want to remove that, but you want to keep the hybrid gel that's on the base. So the speed is at 23,000 RPM, and my pressure is medium. So I'm not very light-handed, but I'm not also very heavy-handed, because I don't want to dig into the hybrid enhancement that I have, because we're going to keep that so we can do a fill. And that's another key point about this product too, is if you're going to explain to your client, is that it is a product that we can fill over time. So you can wear it for 3 to 4 weeks and come back to get a fill. You don't have to remove it every single time. Although if you want to remove it every single time, you can also have that option. You know, it just takes a little bit more effort. But just think of it like acrylic, where they come and get a full set and then they come back for a refill. So this is also the same system where we can create the full set foundation. You could polish right over that. If you have a French base like I do, you can just apply the French manicure with the hybrid and put the top coat on, and then they're done. And then when they come back for a fill, you can fill the white, or you can just fill the pink. When they come back for a fill, you can fill the white. Let me turn the volume down. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. So I do want to make sure that I remove all the gel from the previous nail art that's on top, and only leaving the hybrid at the base. So you guys can tell that there's really no lifting that happens with the hybrid gel if you properly apply it correctly. And that's what our focus is on, going to be on today, is the proper prepping for the hybrid. Okay, so now I could also straighten up the nail with this bit. So you want to use the center of this tornado bit to straighten up the nail. Again, please practice your filing technique before you do this technique here. Just make sure you have 100% control of your handpiece, and you're very comfortable to using the e-file. If not, you can always file straight with a file, nail file, to do this part. Okay, so we just straighten up the nail. So let me remove the dust. This part never looks pretty, but if you can see, I do have some growth. My cuticles are a bit dry, but I'm going to show you how to clean that up and how to properly prep that. So we have two different ways that you can prep the nails with. One is you can utilize these type of Russian manicure bits. These are diamond bits that we can use, or you can just do it with the cuticle pusher, dry cuticle pusher, and just push back the cuticle. But if you have a client that has excessive cuticle that you know, even though you just push back the cuticle, prep the nail bed like I showed you guys before, and they still lift, maybe you should try doing the Russian manicure with it first and then apply the hydrogel system. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the prepping with the Russian bits today. Okay, so I'm missing it. Okay, so first bit I'm going to be using is going to be our cylinder bit. This is a nice pointed bit that can help you to push back the cuticles. So I'm just going to turn it to between 10 to 11,000 RPM. So this bit here, I'm going to always hold my bit at a 0 degree. So I never want to, let me see if I can help you with the lighting. Can you guys see okay with the lighting? Okay, so this bit here, I'm going to hold at a 0 degree angle, and then I'm going to use the side of the bit to push back the cuticle. So on the side here, I'm going to remove all that dry skin. So here. So 0 degree angle. You don't have to point up this tip. We're not using the tip of it. We're using almost like ignore the tip and just start using the body and the back side of this bit. Okay, so I'm going to push back the cuticles a little bit with this bit. There's going to be other different bits that we're going to use for under the cuticle. So I'm just going to remove some of that dry skin, push back the cuticles with this bit. And my speed is only 11,000 RPM, so it does run a little fast, but it's very smooth. So I'm using the center to the back side of this bit to push back the skin. Push back the skin a little bit, that helps you out. And some clients might not have any skin to push back, or they just have very little, so you don't need to do this bit too long. So Brittany asked, can the bits be purchased on your site? Yes, they are available now, Brittany. So I'm going to brush that away. Okay, so that was our number 2 bit. So next bit I'm going to be using is, I'm going to skip the cylinder bit because this is very similar to that bit. So this is great for like really cleaning underneath the cuticle. So the next bit I'm going to be using is going to be our nib bit. So this one here, I'm going to be using closer to the cuticle and surrounding area, so that way I can get into the corners to push back some more dry skin. So you want to pull it out just a little bit. Again, don't speed up more than 12,000 RPM. Okay, so this bit here. So the point on this bit is helping me around the cuticle area, pushing up that dry skin. So you want to hold this at a 0 degree angle as well. You never want to push into the natural nail bed. See, this bit is great to go around those little corners there. And as I'm filing, I'm slowly pushing up the cuticles. So if I have any lifting around my hybrid gel, I can also remove that with this bit, at least to smooth it down. Make sure you don't angle your bits so that way you don't create any line of fire around the natural nail bed. So I'm going to push the skin down. You could even do any dry skin area. You can use the bit for that spot. So around the corners. Again, this is prepping for clients that have a lot of excessive cuticle, or if you want to perfect your application with a hybrid, you want to do a dry European Russian manicure first with the bit and then do the fill. You see all that dry cuticle skin that I just removed? Okay, the next couple bits I love the most because they really help you to remove those dry skin. So next one I'm going to be using is going to be our cone. This is also a ball bit, so there's two of them that I'm going to be using. So this here is going to help you remove the cuticle without cutting cuticles with your cuticle nipper. So I'm going to start with the cone one first. Hi Vin, you asked, how can I avoid bubbling while applying hybrid gel on the nails, also applying the top coat? When I do the application for the fill, Vin, I will demonstrate and I'll explain how to prevent the bubbles. Okay, so this bit here, you can see that I can actually go onto the skin just a little bit, and it helps to remove any of those dry hangnails. It's a very safe bit. It is round on top. And you want to do this with care, okay? You don't want to dig into the skin. You just want to kind of like buff the skin. So you're buffing around the cuticle area and letting this bit help you to remove any of those dry extra skin. Because cuticle is a dead skin cell, so you don't really need that skin hanging around while you apply your product, because that's just going to be in the way. So I'm going to show you guys how clean that looks now. So if you can see, I hope the camera is okay, where it really helps me clean up my cuticle area. Okay, so here. You do have to go through the different steps of the bits in order for you to finalize the look. You don't want to just go right at using the coat, the ball bit to remove skin, because you still have a lot of extra growth underneath the cuticle that you have to remove first. So I'm going to just buff around my cuticle area. Again, very light pressure. So these are diamond bits, and the difference between this bit and a regular carbide bit is these are not very coarse, so they don't cut too much. It's almost like a buffer, but by using the bit instead of using a hand file. So I'm gonna let me help you guys see a little bit more carefully. So I'm gonna be able to use this bit on top of the skin because it doesn't hurt at all. It helps me to buff away the cuticle that is exposed to give me a nice cleaner surface to work with. So I like doing this before I do the hybrid gel, because you don't want to apply the hybrid and then do the cleanup around the cuticle, because then you're going to expose more area where you might have or could have done a fill with. So you want to do all the pushback of the cuticle before you apply the product. So I'm going to clean up all those dry skin. And I brush upward so I can see if I have any extra exposed. See, that looks so much cleaner now. Okay, I'm going to turn that off. Now we're going to use the ball bit. I don't have really any more, just around here. So this bit is good to use for anyone who has really coarse cuticle, like any dry area. My thumbs are always more dry. So you see, this is on the skin. So I'm buffing smooth the skin area, so that way I won't have to go in and trim any cuticle, because there won't be any cuticles to trim. So this bit is actually buffing away any dry skin for me. Because after we prep correctly with these diamond bits and we go to apply the hybrid gel product, after we're done applying the hybrid gel, all we need to do is do a nice clean buffing to finalize the shape with the safety bit, and then we're done, because we already did all the cuticle prep work. Okay, so I'm going to brush away. And this is all done dry, so you guys don't want to spray any alcohol or any liquid on the nail beds at this point, because we want to keep it as dry as possible. Because the hybrid is a gel formula product, and gel sticks best on anything that is dry and has a little bit of the texture so that it can grab on. Okay, so now that we are finished with the cuticle work, next step I'm going to be using is going to be, we're going to use the sanding band bit. So I'm going to use the mandrel, and then we're going to utilize the fine bit. Okay, so make sure your bit is fine grit. You don't want to use medium or coarse, because that's too rough for the natural nails. So I'm going to put that in. Remember, when you put the bit all the way in, it may not work with the handpiece, so you want to expose just a little bit of this. You could either call it the shank or the neck. And then we're going to lock it into place. Okay, so the lock position. And with the prep work, you're going to turn your E-file as low as it can go. So I'm going to turn it to 5,000 RPM with the sanding band bit. So if you guys can see my cuticle area, it's already nicely clean and prepped and pushed back. So I'm not going to use this bit near my cuticles anymore. I don't have to. So what I'm doing with this is I'm making sure that the rest of the nail bed doesn't have any old product from the gel design, and also that I can remove any unevenness at this point. So I don't have to prep around my cuticle, because I already did all of that with the diamond bits. So we're just going to prep the entire nail at this point. I'm holding it at a 0-degree angle. If you can see from my side view that it's just very, very flat. And I'm using the center of this bit, because I want to prep it evenly before I apply the hybrid gel fill. If you leave any of the old top coat or any of the old gel product and then you fill over that, that might create yellowness to the nail. So you want to make sure that you remove all that extra. So again, the E-file is only between 5,000 to 7,000 RPM. So if you have another type of E-file at home, just make sure that it is at the lowest setting for your bit to spin. Okay, so that is the prepping for the nail bed before you apply the hybrid. This is also the same prep work that you can use for acrylic application. So do you guys like that? You see how clean that is? Maybe the lighting is a little bit bright, but let me see if I can fix something really quick actually. Okay, is that lighting a little bit better? Okay, so you guys can see exactly how much cuticle cleanup that I did with all the bits that I was talking about with the diamond bits. So we use all these different bits to do a certain, so each bit has a job function. If you miss any of the steps that I show you, you can always play the video back, and I also have a description on our website what each bit is good for. And look how clean it helped me to prep the cuticle area. Okay, so next step is going to be applying the hybrid to fill the regrowth area. So today I'm going to fill with the same color that I have. Actually, let's fill with the Peachy Shimmer. Yeah, I like to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use number 8, Peachy Shimmer, as my fill. The color that I had before was number 6 and the French White. So this is my existing color on my nail bed, but I can go ahead and use this because I want to keep just a little bit of a French free edge and then maybe apply some other design on top. So I can always mix and match and incorporate a different color to blend it in. Okay, so you're going to need your base gel and your top gel. So we're going to keep the top gel to use it a little bit later. So right now we're going to set up our LED lamp. So this lamp is also included in the kit, and it's great because it just dries really quickly. So you need to have a lamp that is at least 48 watts. So the base gel has the primer and the bonder already built in. So Vin, if you're continuing to watch, you asked me how to prevent bubbles. So I'm going to go through step by step and some of the issues why you would have bubbling in your hybrid application. So first step is just the primer, and that's the base gel. So I'm going to apply a thin layer starting from the cuticle area and pressing down the brush so that way the brush can fan out. It can spread nice and even. So really it only takes me 3 strokes for the entire nail. So 1 stroke in the center, get it close to the cuticle area, fan it down with pressure, and then move it to the side, and then one side this way. This is a great gel base too because it is a little bit thicker and it helps to really self-level some of those uneven areas to give you a nice foundation for us to apply the hybrid gel. So we do want to put the base gel over the entire nail. Even though it's a fill, we still want to base the entire nail bed. And then your thumb. So get it close to the cuticle area. Use the side of the brush for the side of the nail. Make sure you don't leave any dry area because this is going to be the bonding agent that helps to bond the hybrid onto the nail beds. So first step is going to be the base gel, and then we're going to cure this for 30 seconds. Hey Paisley, I know you. Hi everybody, for those of you that are just joining in and watching. I'm still continuing to do the live training class, and this is how to properly prep the nail bed and how to apply a fill for the hybrid gel system. And this is a very nice simple system, so for any of you that are beginner, I guarantee within 1 or 2 times you are gonna understand how this works, and it's very, very easy to do to make it look like a professional nail job. Okay, so 30 seconds. You see that base is really nice and easy to apply, and also it helps to set the foundation for the rest of your process. So I'm going to just grab a little bit of napkin here. And we're going to use our alcohol jar. Let me go and grab mine. So this alcohol solution jar comes in the box set kit, and the solution that we're going to be using is going to be your regular 70% or higher alcohol solution. So here I have 90%. You can use up to 99%. Let me see. This one here that I purchased off of Amazon, this is 99% purity. So anything that is 70% or higher is what I recommend. If you use anything that is lower than 70%, you're going to feel there's going to be some friction between the brush and the hybrid gel. And that's just going from experience trying different levels of alcohol. So the only smell that I smell right now is the alcohol solution, and that's the beauty about this product line is very low odor. There's no smell or odor coming from the hybrid gel. It's only from the alcohol. And honestly, if you smell alcohol nowadays, you feel very comfortable because it sterilizes everything. It kills 99% germ. So these nails are going to be very germ-free. Okay, so I'm going to need my hybrid gel brush. So I've got my brush here. So one side is the brush and then the other side is the metal spatula. So I'm just going to clean it. This is my regular brush that I've been using a lot over time now, so I always make sure that I clean it well. And I know some of you have messaged me and said that your brush wasn't working correctly. Just send me some pictures about that and we'll replace it right away. Sometimes that may happen because we order these by the thousands, so there may be a bad apple in there. So don't worry, we'll replace that for you. Okay, so now that I clean my brush and I have it ready to go, I'm gonna go ahead and slice off just a little bit. And if you guys can see the amount that I use, it's very, very little. That is even too much for a fill. So honestly, you don't need to use a lot of product when it comes to a fill, because you can see the rest of my nail bed is still perfectly intact. There's nothing wrong with it. It looks like it's just got done. So for a fill, that's really all the product that I'm going to be using. So in a fill set, I would say I use probably 25 cents to 50 cents of my product, which is not a lot of cost when you're doing a service like this. And a fill in a regular salon, the average price that we charge for a fill is $45 just for the regular application. But for a color application like mine, this is a $55 service. So if you're spending 50 cents for product on a fill and making $54.50, that's really good markup. And for those of you who are just regular clients that are watching this, I'm sorry to tell you the cost of the product, but it is, you pay for the service as well. So that's why we have to price our nail services at the price range that we're comfortable with, because I just did a Russian manicure before I did my fill. That took me 10 to 15 minutes. So you want to make sure that you incorporate that price into your application. So it's not just a basic fill. You actually gave them a manicure and then fill the nails. So at the end, it's going to look very beautiful and clean. The cuticles will look perfect. You won't have any excessive growth. You know, you're not going to leave the client walking out of your salon with crazy looking cuticle hangnails. So if you guys watch as I do the application right now, and you see that I applied it on all my 5 fingers, but I'm working at them one at a time, it's because this product just sits still. It doesn't move or drip or slide on the surface, and it really allows you to work with the product very, very easily. And this way you can do a really quick fill at the same time. So I'm just using my brush with the alcohol solution as a liquid to help me push the product where I need it to. So I'm going to tap my product into place, and the alcohol will help me with the brush to glide. So the alcohol doesn't really help to make the product any better or worse. So if you're having some bubbling issue, maybe try using less alcohol on your brush and then applying the product. And you don't have to tap the product or play with the product so much. I think also sometimes that might be one of the issues why it creates bubble, is because we're messing with the product too much. So once you get the product application in place and the nail looks good, you can just stop there and move on to the next nail. If you keep tapping like this, you're creating force and you're creating air bubbles and pockets in the product. So that if you see my application is very slow, very smooth, I'm using the tip of my brush to push down on the cuticle area. And then once I get my cuticle area nice and flush, I then work with the rest of the nail. So you see, there's very little stroke that I use. And if the product looks good where it is, I leave it alone. I don't continue to keep playing with it. Even when it comes to applying a full set, I don't need to create so much tapping. Okay, so maybe try that. Tap less, use not as much alcohol as you've been, because sometimes the alcohol will create those air bubbles. And then see if that helps. So now we're going to cure this for 1 minute. So after you're done with the final application, we're going to cure the hybrid for 60 seconds. And then I'm going to clean up my brush as well. So when I clean my brush, I give it a nice twirl. I really take off any excess product that's inside the brush, and I go back and forth because there's already a permanent squeeze on the ferrule, so you want to just always keep your brush in that direction as well. So I clean it a couple times, making sure that I remove all the product on both sides. And then you're going to put it back into the cap. Okay, so you clean up your brush well, it'll keep for a very long time. Okay, so before we start to file and shape the nails, we have to seal it. So we're going to use our top gel and we're going to seal the surface, because as soon as you take it out of the lamp, you're going to see there is that inhibition layer, which is that sticky layer that is created from the hybrid gel and the oxygen, and as it oxidizes it creates that sticky layer. So what we're going to do now is we're going to seal it with the top gel, and this will give it a nice hard finish, and also it'll fill in any of those air bubbles or air pocket. If you skip this step and then you go to shape the nail beds, you're going to see that it's very sticky and it's not going to be as easy to shape with the drill bits. So I want to make sure that I apply a nice thin layer, cover all my sides, especially around my cuticle area. You don't want to over apply this top gel either, because you don't want to run into the cuticle. It's like applying your top gel for the finish of your gel polish. Same technique. I use the center first and then apply it on both sides. This is a really pretty color. Okay, and then just make sure you don't miss any area. And then we're going to cure this for 60 seconds. So you're going to do that on both sides of the hand. So every step that I do, you can repeat the step on the other side of the hand. And if you guys purchased a kit, you don't have to worry, because it does come with instructions step by step. So if you ever miss anything from me, then this is also included. Okay, so I'm going to put everything away. So the next two bits that I'm going to be using is going to be our cone bit and our safety bit. So these are my two favorite bits that I like to use to finish off the surface and around the cuticle. Okay, so after 1 minute, it's nice and smooth. So first off, I'm gonna shape the nail. Go ahead and grab my file. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a straight emery board, and this is 180 grit on both sides, so that's fairly coarse, and that's going to help me shape it quicker. So when I hold my file, I hold it very parallel to the side walls of my nails. But if I need to create a coffin shape, then I'm gonna angle it just a tiny bit. So this is parallel if I'm doing a very square nail, but since my nails are coffin shape, I'm just gonna angle it a little bit and then still keep my file very straight and parallel. So I like to shape my sides on all the fingers before I continue to the next step. Just bring it in a little bit. And this product is softer to shape than acrylic powder. So you're gonna see that you don't have to put a lot of force into shaping, which is really nice. It takes no effort to really create that nice perfect line. Okay, so I'm gonna do all the sides. I think the hardest part of the whole process was the prepping, because if you take your time to prep it correctly and push back that cuticle, this product will not lift. It will stay nice and smooth around the skin, so that way when it grows out, it's going to be very natural looking. I had a new client because we're able to open our salons in Florida now, so I was really happy about that. We started to open on Monday, so yesterday was our first day back in the salon, and I was very surprised that clients were not too upset at all. They were more excited than anything because they've been waiting. We have a lot of clients that return that either took their nails off and let it breathe for a month, or they just held on to their nails until they were able to come in. So I was seeing clients that had 2-month growth with a hybrid, which is amazing. And the only thing that looks bad is around the cuticle area. So if you prep it correctly, then these nails will not lift. It's just going to keep growing and growing. But I do recommend that you tell your clients to come back every 3 weeks to 4 weeks. I know some clients come in 4 weeks at a time. So this product does last longer than traditional acrylic, so you do want to charge more for that. So if your acrylic sets are only starting at $35 to $45, you want to charge a hybrid minimum $45 for a plain short nail to $65. So now I'm going to use the cuticle bit. I'm going to turn my drill up to about 20,000 RPM. Okay, so this is a fast speed, which if it runs fast, then you don't have to put as much pressure. So I'm going to use this bit around my cuticle. I'm not really touching my skin. I'm just making sure that there's no extra gel that ran into the corners. So this is a nice bit because you can see exactly where you're using it at. You see, I already pushed back my cuticles earlier with the diamond bit, so really I have no more extra skin, and my cuticles look nice and clean. So just use the tip of this bit and clean up the cuticle area. Make sure you push the skin down so that way you can see if there's any extra that ran into the skin. So just very easy. Hold it at a 0-degree angle. Make sure that it's not angled or tipped up because you don't want to damage the natural nails. Okay, so that's all I do with this bit, just around the cuticle area. Okay, so the next bit we'll be using is going to be our barrel carbide bit, and so this is made out of carbide metal. It has grooves in here, and this is a medium grit, so it's going to cut off any product that we don't need, and also at the same time smooth off the surface of the body. So I'm going to use this bit for the entire nail bed now. I don't have to go around the cuticle area, but again, this bit is very nice because it does have a round tip, so if you accidentally get very close, it won't cut the skin. So this is a very good beginner's bit. So I'm going to hold it at a 0-degree angle. And just make sure that this bit is going to create a nice smooth surface for me. I'm putting very, very little pressure at the same time. So if you ever feel like your bit is getting caught on the nail while you're trying to smooth it out, one problem maybe is the speed is not high enough and that you can turn it up higher. If your bit is running too fast and you're not moving quicker so the bit could be easily moved around the nail bed, then you need to move faster. So the higher the speed, the faster you need to move your hand positioning. The lower the speed, then you can go a little bit slower. So at a 0-degree angle, I'm just holding my nails to the side so you can see a little bit better. 0-degree angle. I'm using just the center of this bit to take off any uneven surface. So that gel that I use to seal the nails, basically it's already sealed it. So filing it off doesn't mean it doesn't do anything, because it sealed any of those areas that have any holes or any pivots. So that part is already been done. So now at this point, filing the surface and taking off that extra shine, it's just, now we're just making sure the surface is smooth, so when we apply gel or any polish on top, it's gonna look good. And this also helped with that stickiness that we had after we cured the hybrid. Also, that top gel covered that sticky layer, so that way we're able to shape and file smoothly. And I like seeing some of that shine go away, because then it lets me know what area still needs to be shaped, so that way my nail can be smooth. Okay, and then after that, I want to check the bottom of my nails. So I'm going to check the bottom, and I could also use this bit to clean the bottom because it's nice and safe on the tip. So I don't have a lot of growth. I've had this set on for about 2 weeks now. So you want to clean up any of that area. You can also use the under the nail bit cleaner to do this part as well. Okay, so I'm going to look at it one more time. I'm going to fix the shape if I have to. Just want to make sure that it's nice and square. I tapered it a little bit, so I created a soft coffin. Okay, so the last step I like to do is I like to take my ball diamond bit again, and see if I need to clean off any more of the cuticle area and the dry skin. So I'm going to turn my EFOW to only no more than 10,000 RPM, okay, because that's running pretty fast. Because this is a fairly safe bit to use on the skin. So if I have any of that dry skin, I can just buff it away. So I'm more focused on the cuticle area than on the nail. So this also helps to remove any of that extra gel that if you got that onto your skin. This bit doesn't cut the skin at all. It's just buffing this cuticle area to remove any of that dry exposed cuticle. This is one of my favorite bits because it really helps to define the shape and the cuticle area to where it looks perfect. So anywhere dry, like right here I have a dry spot. Take this bit and it doesn't hurt. Make sure you constantly move your bit so that way it doesn't create any friction or any heat. So I'm going to buff away any dry skin. So I'm telling you guys, these bits are amazing to use for pedicures. Because you know how sometimes around that cuticle is so dry that even if you soaked it for a while, you still can't push it back and trim off that dry skin. So I recommend you to try out these diamond bits for the pedicure and especially manicures as well. So any dry skin, I'm going to buff that away. So this is not going to create any hangnails after they leave and when the nail starts to grow out. Because all we're doing now is we're cleaning up all that dry skin that was on top of the surface, which is dead skin, so you don't need that. Okay, so let me go ahead and just use a little bit of alcohol to spray my nail bed so you guys can see the finished look. So nice and easy. So every process that we did today is recommended for any sort of application that you guys do for the nails. Either it's going to be hybrid gel, acrylic system, dipping system. If you like to have a really clean cuticle area, I recommend that you use the diamond bits and do a dry Russian manicure first and then apply your application, because then that will make that cuticle very nice and clean. Okay, so today I'm just going to do a little bit of extra nail art. I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to use a little bit of this gold leaf. How about we do a little bit of spider gel on the nails? So I've got our new color here. Oops. Let's see. So let's use this light purple. So with the spider gel, you do want to make sure that you stir it up a little bit before you use it, because this is a satin spider gel color, so sometimes it separates with the initial pigment. So I'm just going to stir it up to bring up the color. And what the spider gel is basically a rubber gel, so you can create these beautiful, nice straight lines with this product. So I'm going to do a little bit of purple. And so at this point, if you want to go ahead and polish a regular polish on top of this, you can do so as well. So I'm going to do one marble now. So I'm going to go ahead and polish a white gel on top. Okay, so I'm going to take my number 2 gel polish from the Dip and Duo collection. Let's see. Let me do a marble design on this nail. I'm going to go ahead and apply a nice thin layer. With gel polish, always the first layer has to be very, very thin. Even if it doesn't give you 100% coverage, you just want to make sure that you apply it nice and even, but also a very thin layer. If you have any extra gel that may have touched the cuticle area, you want to clean it up at this time. I just use a dry brush to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and also do a marble on the thumb. Maybe I just do like a French marble on the thumb. So I'm just using regular white gel polish. So you guys can see that you can apply any type of gel polish on the hybrid gel. But if you want to just leave it with the pink and the white, you can also do that. And we just came out with a new neon collection as well. Nine new colors of the neon collection, which glows in the dark. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cure this. I'm going to do 2 coats of the white before I use my marble ink. So since I'm using purple for the spider gel, I'm going to use my purple marble ink here. So this is an ink, so basically it's going to air dry. It's not a gel. I'm going to use that. I'll use a little bit of the brown. So this is the brown color, number 2. And maybe throw in a little bit of green. Okay. So I'm going to do 2 coats of the white. You don't have to polish white as a base for the marble. You can have any other color base, but just make sure it's a light base. That way your marble ink can show up. You see how the second coat would just give it the full cover. So always the first coat is just basically a foundation for your second coat to look better. Make sure you cap the tip. So this one was a French. So I'm going to continue to apply 2 coats. And you can freehand the French and then you can clean it up with the brush. It's very easy. Okay, just make sure each coat is nice and even. And cure that for 60 seconds. So with the ink, like I said, it's going to only be air dry. You don't have to use the gel lamp for that. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up. So I've got purple, green, and brown. So for each of the gel color layer, you're going to cure that for 30 seconds. The marble ink, we're going to allow it to air dry. Now to apply the marble ink, you're going to take a nice thin brush like this, and we're just going to take a little bit of acetone. And just regular pure acetone. You can purchase this anywhere. The kit, if you purchase the marbleizing kit, it does come with a bottle of acetone, and if you run out of that, then you can just replace it with any regular acetone. So just need a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to take my inks at this point and I'm going to apply it onto the nail. You don't have to be perfect or you know, a perfectionist at this point, because marble is going to always create a different look for everyone. So I want to place the color that I'm going to be marbleizing first. And then what the acetone does is going to sort of create its own marbleizing effect with the liquid that it smears on the nail. So if you want to remove color, you're going to apply more of the acetone. If you want to create some of these veins, then you want to leave that area alone and just remove some of the marble ink around that area. So in a way, you can control how the final look will look like. But at the same time, if you use too much of the acetone onto the nail, it's going to really bleed out the color. So I take a little bit of acetone at a time, and then I kind of control where I want it to be light and dark. Okay. So I'm gonna let that air dry a little bit. Isn't that pretty? Just gives you that beautiful marble look without hardly any effort at all. So this one here, I'm gonna repeat the same thing on the French part. Do you guys like this look so far? I love doing a marble nail on a design. I always mix up the designs too. So whatever color that I'm going to be using for the other nails, I kind of choose that color pigment and do a marble design on the other nail. Sort of ties it all in. Okay, so if I like a certain look, I'm going to let it dry a little bit more before I continue, because like I said, it doesn't take a lot of acetone to remove the pigment, and you can control it a little bit by directing the acetone in that area. If you want a little bit more color, you can go ahead and add that. So this air dries really quickly as well. So it doesn't take long for you to see what it's gonna look like. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. You don't want to spend forever on the nail. Okay, so I think I like that look as well. Looks good to me. So we got 2 marble designs so far. Okay, so now I'm going to take my spider gel here. So spider gel, you don't have to mix it with anything. You can go ahead and just use our Pick-It tool. So this is a wax pick-up tool, and the other side is a dotting tool. This is great for picking up the gel that we're going to use to apply the rhinestones and crystals with. So this is my glue gel. You could use this end for that, and also great to pick up for spider gel. So spider gel, I'm going to pick it up, and I'm going to just place it over the nail. So I'm going to pick it up again, and I'm going to do a couple different lines. You see how easy it is to create straight lines without any effort at all. You can even do curvy lines if you want to. Many different shapes you can create with the spider gel. So I'm going to do 2. I'm going to go back up this way and come back this way, just to give it a nice, fun, geometrical look. Okay. Isn't that cute? Just something different. I'll do the same for this now. So I have the spider gel in about 12 different colors. Black is really popular, but we have the satin purple, the satin blue, satin pink. We just got these colors collection in for the springtime, so that makes it really fun. And let's see, so this nail here, let's just do one more spider gel. I hold the nail close to the spider gel jar because you want to pick up the product, so you don't want it too far away to where you have to reach to the nail. So the nail stays really close to the jar. Okay. It's fun working with the spider gel. All right, so I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm going to flash cure the spider gel because it is a gel product, so you want to make sure we set it before we move on to the next design. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of my glue gel at this point to put on some embellishment and also to add the gold flakes. You guys like this so far? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so I'm going to use my big old glue gel. This also comes in a small size, so if you guys don't do a lot of designing, or if you want to just try out this product, you can get our smaller size. This is for industrial professional size, which I've been selling a lot of this because once you use it once, you're going to understand why this is so good. It really keeps all the stones on. Okay, so one thing that I'm going to do, I'm also going to put a little bit of dry flour. I think this is a good time for me to demonstrate how easy it is to apply these dried flowers on top of the nails. Because you can use this dry flour to encapsulate underneath the hybrid gel, or you can put it on top because these flowers are so thin that it really is nice to apply on top as well. So I'm going to just take a little bit of flour there. Let me see if I can add a little bit of purple since we have purple on the other nails. So when the dry flowers come like this, you want to make sure that you break them off and just use the small petals. So I'm just going to push down a little bit with my tweezer and break them out. They're very fragile, so you don't need to have a lot of force to separate them. Okay, so I'm going to put that there for now. And also with the leaf, I also break them into smaller pieces because you're kind of creating a very delicate design, and your canvas is your nail bed, so it's not very big, so you don't want anything that's oversized. Okay, so just so you know, you can always break those down. Okay, so I'm going to take my Picket tool, and on the metal end, I'm going to put the dry flour right here. So I'm going to apply a nice thin layer. I'm going to pick up my flour. I'm going to push it down into that gel. I'm going to take a little bit of the leaf. So we're kind of creating a nice spring look. I'll take the blue. So the glue gel, we do have to cure that for 60 seconds for it to finally set. But when you're working back and forth, you can always flash cure for just a couple seconds to set it, and then continue. So I just flash cure that so it can be still a little bit of tackiness to it, so I can push down my design, because you don't want it to be too elevated, because when you finish it off with the top gel, you don't want it to have too much of that points or anywhere sticking up. So I'm going to take a little bit of my foil paper now, and this you can also break off before you apply it onto the nails. So I'm just going to break off tiny pieces. It's really fragile, so it doesn't take much at all for you to separate them. Okay, sometimes I could even use the tweezer. I recommend using 2 tweezers. That way it doesn't get stuck on your fingers, because these are, again, like I said, really fragile. It does stick everywhere. Okay. So I'm going to add a little bit of foil design onto the nails. Maybe just do a little bit here, just to give it a little bit of color. I'm going to add a little bit here as well. I'm going to repeat and put a little bit there. I'm going to put a little bit of gold foil inside of my marble design. So I'm going to use the other end to apply it, and then I could take my metal side and I can always move that foil around if I want to. The foil is very fragile, so you don't need a lot to add color. And it gives it that gold leaf look. Just add a little bit there. It's kind of an accent to the nails. So I'm applying this on top of the glue gel. Okay, so if you want to add a little bit there, you can too. Okay, so we're going to flash cure this before we apply top gel. So the top gel that I used to seal the hybrid is also the same top gel that we can use to finalize the entire look. So this is going to use as your clear top gel sealer on top of all the nail art that we just done. So I can add a little bit of crystals as well. So I'm going to take my glue gel here, take a little bit of that, and maybe I'll do a strip of crystals just right here. So you'll use the wax end of your pickup tool to pick up the crystals. So if you guys don't have a tool like this, then you're missing out, because this is so nice and easy for you to create that design without having to worry about the glue drying on you or getting too cakey. I know I used to put on my rhinestones with acrylic, and the problem with that is it dries really quickly as well, and then it leaves the surface kind of thick around the stone, so I don't like that. So underneath there is the glue gel that is not dried yet, so I can continue to keep working, and you see that it allows me to place my stone wherever I want it to, and then it doesn't move. So that's the beauty about this product, is very great for you to continue to design almost all the nails before you cure it into the light. So we're just going to do a little bit of crystal design there on the side. So we have hundreds and hundreds of different type of embellishment products on the website, so you guys can go on there and look around and see what you like to use. We always carry the latest and the greatest, so every product that we have, we always update to what the trend is, and the trend now is almost anything goes. So some days I'll be doing foil design. Today I did marbleizing with dry flowers and gold leaf and spider gel. So you can see how pretty everything ends up looking as long as you have the right product. So now I'm going to take the glue gel, the top gel, and we're going to apply a nice layer, not too thin, not too thick. If you have any bumpiness from the foil, you can always apply your top gel twice to give it a more smooth finish. So right over the marble. Remember, with the foil, the gold foil, I flash cure that for a couple seconds, so it's pretty much gonna stay in place while I apply the top gel. This glue gel here, I haven't cured it yet, so it's still wet, but I did that on purpose because I want to go ahead and apply the top gel around the stone at the base of the crystals and pearls with this top gel first before I cure it, because that helps to really allow any gel to go into the area where it may not have sat flush to the nail bed. So if there's any gap, then of course, you know, your hair or your clothes can pick off the stones. So allowing you to apply the top gel while the gel glue is still wet helps it to kind of adhere together and give it a nice seal. So if you want to perfect the look, you can still move your stones around. So then I'm going to apply, remember, just a nice thin layer over the entire nail bed. So if you're having any bubble issues with the top gel, it's one problem maybe there's still some dirt or some debris of dust left over on the nail bed. So you want to give it a nice cleaning before you apply the top gel, because any fine dust that we can't see is going to be underneath that gel and it's going to cure and give you those bumpy surface. So I can show you how to fix that quickly as well. So let me go ahead and cure this first. So anytime I do designing with foils that's or dry flour that sits on top of the nail bed, there's going to be some unevenness or some bumpiness. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. Going to put this away. Hi everyone who's just tuning in and watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video so far. Hi Sissy, hi Liz, hi Margie, hi Loretta. I know this tonight's a kind of a longer training class because I have a lot to go through. But if you guys miss any part in the beginning, you can always play this video back as well. So we want to final cure for 60 seconds. So as I mentioned, sometimes when I do any type of nail art that is sat on the top, there's going to be some unevenness. So the simplest way to fix that is we're going to take the buffer, and this is the softer side of the buffer, and we're just going to buff that lightly to smooth out any of those edges from the foil or from maybe the dry flowers right there. Make sure you just don't hit the crystals with it. So I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit and then apply one more top gel. So if you apply the top gel and then you have some bubble that got created from dust that was left onto the nails, you can easily just fix it by buffing it off first and then cleaning it again and then applying your top gel. So any roughness that you feel, you're going to go ahead and buff it off. Take your towel, make sure it's a lint-free towel, and then just clean off the surface one more time. And then we're going to apply one more coat of the top gel to give it a nice final seal. Okay, so I'm going to use the same top gel again. And we're going to apply a nice thin coat. And also don't tap your brush so much when you're applying top gel or even any kind of gel. You want to give it nice long strokes. That way it also does not create any air bubbles between the brush and the gel. So just nice and smooth strokes. That way it can prevent all those air bubbles. One more time around this area. So make sure you don't apply top gel over the crystals because that's going to take away the shine. I'm just touching the base of the stones. So try not to tap too much when you're applying the gel. Make sure you cover all the sides. And with marble design, you actually want to apply 2 coats of gel because that will really help to retain the look a lot longer. So as a rule of thumb, I always apply 2 top gel just to make sure that I seal in all my designs. So then I'm going to final cure this for 1 more minute, so 60 more seconds in your LED lamp. Okay, so if you guys don't have any questions, you can always ask me later on, but I appreciate you for coming back and joining us in our training class today. Make sure you come back and watch us on Thursday, this same time on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. The next class we'll be having is going to also be focused on a hybrid gel system, and we're going to be doing a little bit more extravagant application, probably some ombre, some encapsulation. So make sure you tune in. If you have any questions about the products that I used today, you can always message us. If you guys know Jazz, you can also contact her directly to ask about the product. And we are excited because we are setting up a lot of new training for the future, and we have a lot of plans coming up. So I will talk more and more about that as we go along. But I do hope that you guys give this product line a try. And if you like anything that you see, please also let us know. Make sure you send us the images and photos of your nail work so that I can enter you into our contest. And on Thursday, I'm going to pick up a name from the box, and I'm going to give you guys a nice gift, a nice free nail art gift. For any pictures that you guys send in, you'll get one entry into that contest. So here, let's look at the final look. You guys like that? Very pretty, very easy to do. So I hope you guys also will share the video, and make sure you tune back next Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us again, and we will look forward to seeing you guys and your comments and your photos. So I just wish everybody a good night. Thank you so much.